right, ladies, thank you for joining me.
Absolutely. You're welcome. It's going to be fun.
Yes, all right. So, everybody, what we're doing today is we're doing our planner panel for Real Talk. So, we're going to answer your questions live, and we have some devices here. So, go ahead and ask your questions in the comments, and depending on which feed you're on, we will answer those. If we don't get to it on Facebook Live, we will personally message you back, but go ahead and ask your question. And then also we have submitted questions here, so we're going to answer those too. The first thing that we want to do is introduce ourselves. So, hi, I'm Kara, and my company is Embraced by Kara Wedding Photography. I am a professional wedding planner in Central Florida, and I specialize in lifestyle photography. So basically, if you don't know how to pose in front of the camera, but you don't want overly posed pictures, I'm the girl to see. Katie?
Hi, everybody. My name is Katie Jimenez, and I own Big Day Celebrations, which is a wedding and event planning company here in, I think my computer just did something. Anyway, I think we may have lost connection. It's all good. There it goes. Now it's back. We are a wedding and event planning company in Orlando, Florida, and we do everything from day of coordination to full service planning.
Hello everyone, my name is Kim Tran from Pearl White Events, and we are also a wedding planning company here in Orlando. We do specialize in like ethnic Asian American weddings. We do from day of coordination, partial planning, full planning. We also specialize in design, so you'll be hearing me speak about that in a little bit.
Hello, I'm Priscilla Locke, owner of Priscilla Rose Events, also Central Florida wedding and event planner. Everything from day of to full service planning as well.
Perfect.
It's a wide variety.
And yes, basically we have 3 different planners with 3 different companies to answer your questions. Yes, okay. All right, so again, we're going to go over wedding planning, and then we're going to give you 3 tips on how to save money for your wedding day from our planners, and then answering your questions too live. The first thing that I want to ask you guys, your ladies, what is wedding planning? So Priscilla, I know you're going to talk to us specifically about planning.
And Carol gave me 2 minutes. I want to do this real fast. So planning is one of the facets of a wedding planner, as well as design and actually coordinating the actual event. So planning is one of those first steps where a planner actually will meet with a couple to help facilitate all the events leading up to the actual production. I almost said execution, but that sounds bad. The production of the wedding. From meeting and connecting the couple to vendors, to helping outline a budget, to managing a budget, helping with design advice and techniques, going over wedding etiquette, helping with wedding itineraries, and really making sure that everything up into the wedding is running smoothly and really giving that couple a peace of mind.
Nice.
Is that good?
Yeah,
That was like a minute. That was awesome. So I wanted to ask you too, so included in full planning, there's a lot, timeline and everything that goes into it, but can you talk to me a little bit more about vendor meetings?
Sure. So and every planner, of course, is different. So ladies, if you feel like you need to jump in, please do. With planning, a lot of planners will separate their packages into how much planning is actually being done before the wedding date. So depending on what service or package or what your needs are for pre-planning before the wedding, sometimes the planner will include vendor meetings, client meetings, where the couple actually sits down. What happens is I give you a preferred vendors list, and the couple will choose from those vendors or outside vendors that they have chosen, and I will make contact with those vendors and help the client set up a meeting with them. Once we've actually made contact and we've confirmed a meeting time, I will most oftentimes, depending again on what the couple requests, to go to those meetings and help them ask any questions that they might have with the vendors. If they move forward with those vendors, I'll help negotiate contracts. I'll help talk to the couples about what they need from that vendor, because some couples don't know what they don't need or what they need. Right. So that's really what the planner is there for, to kind of be that that bridge between vendor and the
And
client.
also to explain the lingo, because in the wedding industry, you know, we talk about these things, like some people don't even know what a charger plate is. If you're not in the wedding industry, having said, oh, it's the charger plate for the tables, well, a bride or a groom may not know what that means. It's the plate that actually sits on the table so pretty. It really has no other purpose. From a design standpoint, it's wonderful.
Yeah.
But in terms of like functionality, not so much. So a planner is able to explain the different terminologies being used, especially like when you're meeting with a florist. If a florist is like, oh yes, I think that, you know, this cascading down and, you know, it would be perfectly matched with this type of flower because it's in season. Oh, but you know, it should not be mixed with this because that flower bleeds and it, you know.
Yeah.
Anyways, your wedding planner is able to decode and decipher all of that and put it into layman's term where you can actually understand, oh, that's what she means. Or
And sometimes keep the couples kind of in check with their budget as well. When they're talking to people like their florist, because they get this picture and they're like, yes, yes, yes.
I want all of
And then
this.
where they're going, but remember that budget.
Yes. So I actually want to touch on this. I want to touch on the real talk aspect of the planning portion. So when you are meeting with vendors, you're able to know who's professional and who's not. And even if you don't actually know the professional person, we'll say a florist, you're going to be able to see it before the bride and groom. Most of the time, you're going to be able to know if somebody's BSing,
Yeah.
and this is your client. You're not going to let that happen.
And one of the things that I request of my couples too is that I am the point of contact. So if something happens, they don't necessarily have to make a decision right there with that vendor or feel like they have to follow them up. That's my job, and I can kind of steer them in the right direction politely.
Nicely.
But if I'm the point of contact, I'm kind of, you know, shuffling that conversation between the two, so they don't really have to have that, well, you might not be right for us, uncomfortable conversation. And that's another benefit of having a planner, is they're kind of that buffer.
Right. Excellent. Okay, so if you have questions specifically about planning, go ahead and leave it in the comments below. But now we're going to talk with Kim on design.
Okay, so design is something that I feel like most people or most brides do this before they even get engaged. You know, Pinterest and Instagram are two very popular social media platforms where people are looking there for inspiration. They're scrolling through like, oh my goodness, love, I'm going to do this for my wedding. And so they start pinning all these things. They start saving photos from Instagram, liking and everything. And so when they come to me and they're like, okay, I have all these ideas. And from a designer standpoint, you really have to be able to look at, okay, what goes with what? Because sometimes they may like an aspect, let's say, of like this rustic wedding, but not quite the whole rustic, you know, like, you know, wooden broken pieces. But maybe they just like maybe perhaps the, I don't know, the calligraphy that was on that wooden piece. And then they like another piece that's very, let's say, contemporary. Well, how do you mix those two elements together? Now, while there's no right or wrong in design, because truly it's your wedding and you can do whatever you want. So, I mean, if you're more of, you know, like a funky, kind of eclectic type of person, you want like a bohemian theme, I mean, really just anything goes. But if you're more of a refined, more of a classic, you know, you like that timeless type of feeling, then having, you know, a lot of the bright colors, again, a lot of wooden elements, it's probably not going to be your style. So anyways, a wedding planner, what we're able to do, especially if you have them for design, is to really be able to kind of curate this overall picture of what your wedding is going to be like.
Okay. So if I came to you and I said, I'm getting married in a barn, and it's Dungeons and Dragons theme. Can you help me design that?
Okay, so if that was one of the questions that came to me, then I would ask them, well, you know, is your wedding, is it going to be a ultra formal black tie? Is it going to be semi-formal? Is it going to be just dressy casual, or is it going to be just casual? Now, if you're like, oh, no, it has to be like black tie. I've always envisioned everyone in these long gowns. Well, then your theme probably won't go as well unless you really take it into more of a like a deep gothic type of thing where you're going more towards the dragon-esque type of, you know, castle-like, but maybe not quite so
so basically what you're saying is you're there to bring them in.
Yes.
Okay.
So be
That's
able
not bad.
to again to decipher, because everyone has a lot of ideas, and while every idea, there's certain things that it's going to be great for, but overall, depending on your personality and your partner, because it's not just one-sided, right? So depending on what you and your partner feel comfortable with, that's how we're going to be able to design it. So again, so if you're thinking about the formality, that's probably the first step that I would suggest is what kind of formality are you looking for? So again, is it, you know, the ultra formal black tie event? Are you having a semi-formal black tie optional? Are you having just a, you know, casual semi-formal to an informal casual? So that's my first step. And then the second part is actually selecting your theme and style. So for theme and style, what I mean is like, you know, are you elegant, contemporary, rustic, classic, beachy, preppy, artistic, retro, shabby chic? I mean, it kind of goes on. A lot of people kind of determine a lot of their wedding design off of that, and that really, really sets the tone after your formality is that style and theme.
Sure. So I can see some brides are probably, their eyes are glazing over going, oh my gosh, that is a lot of like information. But that's kind of the point. I mean, this is a big event in your life, and it doesn't matter if your budget is $10,000 or $100,000 or less or more. The point is you have a party to plan. I mean, realistically, you have a party to plan, and there's a lot that goes into it. And if you're, it's not even whether you're not capable of doing it, because I'm sure everyone is. It's just, do you have time for that?
And with going with that, with what Kim said too, when you talk with a couple and they say, you know, I want vintage. Vintage to them could mean something completely different than what vintage, you know, you've seen before, or the shabby chic. And then you really have to kind of figure out what it is that they want to kind of steer them back into
vintage,
what they're
there's
actually
like
wanting.
Retro vintage, right? And then you have the rustic vintage, then you have the timeless vintage. I mean, and it's just like, well, which era do you want? And then of that, pulling those elements out. And I think that a great planner or designer is able to see the vision. The more that you talk to them, the more information you give them, the better they are at helping put together this like overall vision.
Something clicked on my thingy.
Oh.
I'm gonna check it.
Okay.
I'm gonna check it real quick. You keep doing your thing. Excellent.
I love this. This is awesome.
Okay, so I mean, like other themes and styles that I didn't name are vintage. Oh, eco-friendly and green. This is something that's not done too often, I would say, here in Orlando.
Yeah.
More so like out like West California, somewhere up north. I think they're a little bit more cognizant with the environment than we are, unfortunately. But it is something really cool. Actually, we'll have one of my clients who's getting married in November, and she is doing their paper flowers. It's called Eco Flowers.
I've heard it. They're awesome.
Yeah,
They're
and
awesome.
it's really pretty. And she's like, oh my god, I'm getting all my bouquets and my boutonnieres from this company. And she sent me a link, and the flowers are like
They make them out of
amazing.
wood. Part of them, I think, are out of
Yeah,
wood,
like
which is
wood,
super
paper,
cool.
or something like that.
Recycled stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, recycled materials. So.
Interesting. Okay, so I do want to ask you, Kim. Is there a separation between the design and planning, or is it always something that goes together?
Okay, so this is just for me, for my company. So if a client hires me for partial planning or full planning, typically design is included. Well, full planning, definitely design is included. Partial planning, it really depends on what their needs and what they need help with. Most of the time, design is a really big ticketed item, and they're like, I totally need help with it. So most of the time in partial planning for me, it's included. Now, if they're hiring for month of coordination, I do advise them, while I don't do the full like design aspects, I do advise them wherever that is needed. I do have clients who do hire me for, let's say, month of coordination, and then they add on design separately.
Sure.
So they're only paying for the design part of it. So I do that as well.
Okay, cool. So you can a la carte things.
Correct.
All right, excellent. So the takeaway here is, if you're not sure what your budget will allow, it does not hurt to reach out to coordinators, planners, and ask them. I mean, they're going to send you their pricing, but the first question to ask them is, you know, not necessarily where's the negotiation here, but like, I don't know what I need. I think I need you.
I get that all the time.
I don't know what I need. So just schedule a consultation. They're going to tell you what they think you need. So that's a good one. Okay, so Katie, you're going to talk to us about coordination. So like day of coordinating.
So, day of coordination. This is the one thing that I think every couple should get. Figure out a way to put it in your budget. Save $50 a month. We'll make it happen. Day of coordination is something that is very important. It is going to enable not only you and your fiance, but your family, your wedding party, your guests, your vendors to kind of be able to enjoy the day and not have to worry about a single thing, which I personally think is awesome. You've spent all this time planning, you want to be able to enjoy it. You don't want to worry about setting up centerpieces, making sure your cake arrived on time and it's not falling apart. Did you get your correct flowers? All those little things are things that we take care of, so you don't have to. So let me talk a little bit about day of coordination, kind of what goes into it. With my company, it's maybe a little bit different for you guys. The time you book me and you sign the contract, kind of that day of starts in a way. You get unlimited communication, so if you have questions, you're like, hey, I need help with some vendor referrals. I'm here to help kind of direct you into professionals that I know. Somebody coming in. Hi, come in.
Join us.
Don't mind us.
Noise.
We're going live.
Yeah.
Hi. Say hi.
Aren't you guys already live?
We're live now.
Yeah.
We're live now.
Take a camera, any camera. Yeah. and feel free to take the obstacle course to get to the office.
That's impressive.
Yeah.
It's impressive right now.
This is Thomas.
Hi guys. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah.
That's.
Do you want to jump on Facebook Live with us?
No, I'll leave the professionals. I'm gonna go just sit.
Just go hang out. It's all good. It's all good.
Just
enjoy, guys.
take notes.
That's impressive. I've already taken mental notes of this.
Thanks, Thomas.
I love it.
I'm gonna pause you for just a
Yeah,
second.
you're good.
I did not mention this in the beginning. So if you're on this camera right here, you're on my feed. This camera right here
Hello.
is Priscilla's. Up here, right
I'm the
back there,
laptop.
the laptop is Katie, and then on the end right there is Kim's. So if one of these feeds goes down, which mine popped up and said storage low,
Mine was funky too. Yours
yeah,
was funky.
then you can jump on one of the other ones. So it's
Right.
Priscilla Rose Events, Pearl White Events, and
Big Day
Big Day Celebrations. And then of course mine is Embraced by Kara. So okay, so coordination.
Coordination. Back on that. So, as I was saying, all planners are going to be a little bit different. But with the majority of them, they're going to provide some sort of vendor recommendation. So if you email me a year before your wedding and are like, hey, Katie, I'm starting to look for florists. Can you send me a few?
Yeah.
I'm going to go, okay, no problem. Like, what budget are you thinking? Then I will send you 3 to 4 of people that I think work in your budget based off the Pinterest board that I stalked a little bit. And then that will kind of guide you into finding that perfect florist. Little bit of difference in between that and planning is I'm not necessarily going to go to that florist meeting with you, but I will guide you to vendors that I know are awesome. In addition to that, if you have any other random little questions throughout the process, I'm always glad to help. But the bulk of day of coordination, I would say, isn't even day of. It starts probably 4 to 6 weeks prior, where we start reaching out to all of your vendors. So everybody you have contracted, from your hair and makeup person to your DJ to your florist, I reach out to all of them and I'm like, hey, my name is Katie. I'm going to be the coordinator, just to let you know, and I confirm when are you arriving? How long are you contracted for? Do you require a vendor meal? If so, do you have any dietary restrictions? All these little things that you may not necessarily think of asking, I reach out and I get all that info from your vendors. And then I take all that info and it goes into a lovely timeline, which those all vary too with planners. Mine, I looked back and it's like on average of 7 pages. It's a pretty long document. So all of that lovely info goes into a timeline, and not only do you get it, but all of your vendors get it as well.
Yes, please, thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, please, thank you.
It helps people like Kara out. It just keeps everybody on the same page. I cross-check everything with your photographer if they've done a timeline. I cross-check it with your DJ, your band, their timeline, and it all just goes into just this awesome itinerary.
The key on that is
Yeah.
if my services, you bought me for 6 hours, right?
Mhm.
My services are from 2 to 8,
Yep.
and ceremony's at 4.
Yeah.
And DJ's supposed to start at, I don't know, 5:30.
Yeah.
All right. So then, but the DJ has a different timeline,
Yeah.
and maybe hair and makeup says that, oh yeah, I'll be done at 3:30, and I'm
You're like,
going, no, that's not good.
Not when we have a first look plan.
No,
like,
it needs to be.
Yeah.
So Katie's looking at everybody and just kind of making sure everybody's on the same page.
Yeah.
It's very important. She's also, I mean, it's not just everybody. Any planner who's doing your day of coordinator, day of coordination, I love them because they're making it so I don't have to do it because I cannot bustle your dress
Yeah.
and take pictures of myself bustling your dress. And
Right.
if your maid of honor, your mom, your bridal party has no idea,
No idea how.
we know how to do it. Okay, that's
Yes.
it's literally our jobs. So
Mhm.
yes, okay. And I was gonna ask you when does day of actually start, but like you said, for you, it's when you sign.
When you sign, and again,
Yeah.
lots of planners are different in that respect. A lot I would say are probably that 5 to 6 week mark, kind of month of in a way. It all just depends. We're all the same, but we're all a little bit different.
Right. And the point is, and we were discussing it earlier,
Mm-hmm.
day of coordination is not on the day. And I was in a thread, love the internet, I was in the thread, and someone was complaining about the fact that the day of coordinator was hired, paid for, showed up on wedding day, going, okay, who's your vendors? What's this? What times? What,
gives me
like,
chills.
because they were, I mean, I'm
We all need a
assuming,
minute.
yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure it was somebody new who thought day of coordinating meant I'm showing up on your day, coordinating your day. No, that's not it. Like, no, they're all like over here like going, what?
There is one, like for example, like we have one that's called Day of Assistance.
Okay.
And that
Yes.
one literally is the day of, but it's not coordination. So that's the difference.
Right.
Assistance on the day of. For example, let's say that if you have a welcome table and like your sweetheart table or something else that you wanted to like specifically set up,
Sure.
then we would use those specific tasks. Or like for example, let's say that you have this like grand exit with sparklers and then everyone's gonna go out to like the field and there's gonna be like movies and popcorn, for example, right?
That's the one.
I had a request for that before too.
I would want to shoot that one.
So then like they would hire us and then we would make sure that they have all the sparklers ready and then like, you know, once everyone is lined up, that then afterwards the TV screen is, the screen is on, the popcorn is ready for all the guests to come out and now they're having a little after party. So like we can assist for that, but that doesn't really, that is
not
not the
coordinated.
same.
It's not
exactly, it's
full.
not the
Right.
same as
Right.
day of coordination or month of coordination.
Basically, they're going to you and they're saying, this is what we're doing. We just need somebody to execute it.
Extra hand.
Exactly.
Yes. Okay. So
Yeah.
right. Whereas a day of coordinator is,
Coordinate.
here's all my
Coordinate.
stuff.
And
but
together.
make sure it happens, please.
Yeah. And we're there usually from start to finish.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Excellent. So now you have an idea what a wedding planner does. Which, just in case if you didn't, because there's a lot that goes into it. So when I talk to a lot of clients, and they're obviously going to me for photography, not planning, I always ask, do you have a coordinator? Let me give you a tip. Every single profession other than planners ask, do you have a coordinator? Because we're going, oh please, this is gonna make my day go smoother. Just because there's so much that goes into a wedding day, and it's not something that you should be thinking about on your actual wedding day. All right, so ladies, these are open floor questions.
Cool.
So I have a couple questions for you. These are questions that were asked to us, and they're big topics. So the first one, what is the benefit to hiring a professional wedding planner? Yes.
There's so many. Other than, I think the obvious one being, it really is there to alleviate the stress. It is your wedding day, and it happens so quickly that you don't want to look back on it and have almost that, what just happened, because you weren't in the moment, because you were so worried about who was walking down the aisle next, or where mom-in-law was, or whatever the case is. I mean, we're really there to, I think, alleviate that stress for you and kind of take on those tasks and that stress for you to make sure everything's running the way that you have envisioned it to. I think that's the most obvious reason and benefit, but more so to me, I think it really is because it brings so many resources. We really are a team. And especially when you hire a planner, we have a team behind us, not only in our own companies and our assistants, but also the vendors and professionals that we work with them often. And if we don't have an answer or we're stuck, we have so many people that we can reach out to. And I mean, even the wedding that we did, you said something about bustling dresses. Kim and I had bobby pins, and we're bustling the bride's dress and taking bobby pins out of our own hair. And I mean, we really do just come together as a team, and I think that's probably the most important.
I want to note on this.
Yes, we work together.
Yes, this is something that we talked about on like our first Real Talk, but they all have separate companies, and therefore they all have separate teams of assistants that come in on wedding day, but they also work together. It's the same thing, like when I hire a second photographer, it's a professional that I know that has their own business. Whether you hired me and I'm lead, or hired them and they're lead, we all work together, which is important too, because I mean, every single lady here cares about their clients. So if it's not the right fit, this is out of my spectrum, or
Not available.
I'm not available, or budget, they're going to try to help you.
Yes.
With another company. So it's very key there that these ladies do not, I've never heard them talk bad about another company. I've never heard them talk bad about another vendor. If it's just not meant to be, it's just not meant to be. But that's why these ladies are on here. Sorry. So, okay.
Actually, if I may add
you want to
something.
add. Yeah.
Well, I mean, one of the things about like the difference between hiring a professional. So on our panel right now, Katie, myself, and Priscilla, the three of us, we are certified wedding planners. And, you know, when people are like, so what does that mean when you're like certified? You know, like, oh, you know, this person's been a wedding planner for X amount of years. And while I say experience does add to the credibility, when you are certified, there are certain things that you learn. You go through a certification process. And so it's not just like, oh, trials, you know, like, oh, I did this, okay, that didn't work, okay, now I learned from it. While we all learn while we're doing all these events too, we're actually understanding the inner workings, the background of weddings. So again, too, let's say that for your wedding, you were thinking about having your aunt coordinate the wedding because she's done multiple parties. You have a large family, and every time there is a party, your aunt is the person who is coordinating, you know, the anniversaries, the birthday parties. She is that go-to person. However, she's not very well versed in weddings itself. So what's the difference between having your aunt coordinate your wedding versus having a certified wedding planner or a professional wedding planner? The difference is the knowledge, the resource that Priscilla had mentioned. When a client comes to me, or actually any of us, I think that we're all on the same page because we are certified through the same society, that, you know, we truly do try to help the client as much as we can. So even if they're hiring us for a month of coordination or day of coordination, if they're asking us, hey, do you have a florist or a DJ that you recommend? You bet you we are going to send you recommendations, because the thing is, if we don't send you proper recommendations for vendors, it's going to be harder for us to work with them later on too. So we would rather guide you and point you in the right direction in professional, reliable, and quality vendors that not only are going to show up on your wedding, they're going to deliver over, you know, what your expectations are, at the same time work well with us and other vendors.
Yeah, because it's a team. And there's nothing wrong with, okay, my aunt she plans all these parties and everything. A birthday party is not the same thing as your wedding that you're just spending $20,000, $30,000 on. I mean, if you're spending $30,000 on a birthday party, great, excellent. Most people don't. Most people don't, but they do spend that money on a wedding because it's a lot of moving pieces.
Right.
And I saw this amazing deal on Groupon for a DJ. Okay, not doesn't necessarily mean that they're not a professional
Right.
DJ. It's just like we're all gonna know, you know, and it's very important that all of us work together well on your wedding day. No drama. Team bride.
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Yes.
So-
Team groom. Team whoever.
Team whoever.
Team couple.
Yes. Okay. So then, I also want to ask, how do you help with wedding budgets and analysis, cost analysis?
Okay.
I'll
work it.
I actually have an online course that I'm creating. No, this right here is an actual workbook on budgets and allocations, and this is something I'm in the works. I'm almost complete with it, but it really takes you through the entire process. Like when you first get engaged, one of the first questions people ask you is when you get engaged and where is it going to be, right? And you're probably thinking like, I don't know when and where, and I don't know how much money I need to set aside. So it kind of really goes in. So one of the first things for budgets and allocations is, well, again, to what are your expectations from the formality to the settings to generally what your theme is. Then you have an idea of how much you may need to. Now, a great number and a great statistic to note is the national average, okay?
Yeah.
And I'm going to mention the national average as just a standard, just so that we have kind of a floor as to where budgets will be. So according to the NOT 2016 statistics, for a 150-person wedding, the national average is $35,329. Now, that's not to say that if you have a $10,000 budget for your wedding, that's not the national average. Of course, too, this is nationally. So, like for example, in New York City, their average budget is about $78,000. In Arkansas, the lowest, it's like less than $20,000 for a wedding.
Yeah.
Now here in Central Florida, I do believe the new statistics that just came out, and this is from Wedding Wire. I think it's like 28 or 32.
It's on my phone.
Yeah, it's
Let's talk about that too.
yeah.
Yes,
So it's
yeah.
somewhere in that range. I do believe in Central Florida, it's somewhere between 28 to 32,000, which is against the national average. Now, when you're first setting your budget, what you want to do is see how much can you contribute. Instead of saying budget, I really like to say more so like allocation. How much can you allocate towards your wedding? So obviously this is a conversation that you want to have with you and your partner. How much can you set aside and how much can you allocate towards your wedding? Now, if you are getting assistance from your family, this is a conversation that you want to have. And while this may be uncomfortable for some, it is a conversation, especially if your parents on both sides do plan on contributing, you need to have this conversation. So sit down with them and let them know, okay, this is generally, what we're going for. This is kind of the formality. These are the themes. This is about how many guests I'd like to bring on my side for my friends. I don't know how many on your side for parents if you would like to invite. Come up with the total guest list and then ask, contribution-wise, how much are they able to contribute to your wedding? Because the contributions and how much you've allocated towards your wedding is going to really determine how much you can spend on the wedding itself.
Yeah, and I know, Priscilla, that you, like the first thing that you do when you talk to them is go, what's your top priority?
I always ask my couples, first of all, how many are you expecting? Because that's going to drive your budget.
Yes.
And then I'll ask them, what are your top priorities? Because, if florists or your pictures that come out are the top priority, well, then now we kind of have, a starting place.
I think you do.
And I always invite, when I talk to my couple and invite them to a consultation, I always invite whoever is helping pay for the wedding as well, because you know that they're going to be part of that allocating budget process. And I think it's interesting too, because a lot of couples, like you said, you don't know. That's always my first question, is what's your budget? Because that's usually always the professionals' questions as well, the vendor questions. What's your budget? What are you looking for florists? Because that's their starting point. But a lot of couples don't know. They've never done this before. I have no idea what a florist is going to cost me for 200 people. So another benefit of the planner is to really kind of give those realistic numbers and help
I broke it.
allocate budget better. Do you break things sometimes?
Oh no, yeah, no. I was just looking. By the way, your husband is totally crushing on Thomas. I can't say Thomas, so you know.
I see it. You need me to move.
Yeah. Okay.
We're getting some thunder. I don't know if that's
Yeah.
enough Wi-Fi.
Probably. Okay. Hi. All right. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you
No,
off
you're
there.
good. That's
Okay. That's it. I'm done.
That's it.
I'm done. All right. So, what makes you qualified now? Kim was talking about certifications. So, what makes you qualified, and how do I weed out the wannabes? I don't even care if that doesn't sound nice. I don't even care. It's the truth. I'm on my feed all the time. I'm like horror stories. Just a florist just on Facebook. I showed up and the coordinator has already been drinking and it's 2 hours till ceremony. What? Not a professional. Not a professional. Hire a professional. So, how do you weed that out?
Okay, so the big thing you guys can do is go check out reviews. There are platforms like The Knot, which most people know about, very popular. There is also Wedding Wire, and then there's another one called Perfect Wedding Guide. Those are the three that I actually showcase reviews on. I don't know if it's the same for you guys, but I would say go there, look, read more than one review. Go through, click page 2. Keep reading reviews. That's really going to give you a good idea of kind of our personalities, how we were to work with as a company, how our company was, all kinds of things like that you will get from reviews. And those are also places that vendors cannot pay to showcase reviews. These are all coming from real couples with experience through our company. Another place to look is Google and also Facebook. You can leave reviews on both of those platforms. So I would say that is one of the biggest things to help weed people out, is just reading firsthand experience reviews from different
And
people.
simply shopping around.
Yeah.
I mean, I always encourage my couples, don't let me be your one and only stop. Go talk to
Absolutely.
another planner. Go see who's your best fit. You're going to be working, especially if you have any kind of planning with them, you're going to be working, you're going to feel like you're married to your planner. Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, I know a lot about my bride. So, you have to have that perfect fit. So it's okay to not fit. It's okay not to be
It
a
wants
match.
to fit.
It's all right. I mean,
Yeah.
I was just on a consultation, and Corbin, I was with Corbin, and Corbin said, you're very, you talk business. I do. I am maybe not as personable as I mean to be. Like, on engagement session, I'm going to learn everything, like your blood type and everything. Well, when I'm talking about business, I talk about business. And, but if you read my reviews, these are things that I don't have any control over. I didn't write them for them. And there's just, they tell you, like, I was comfortable and she's amazing because of this, and if those things matter to you, then I'm probably the photographer for you. However, if you're looking for something completely different, nothing necessarily against me or my style, but maybe you're just looking for somebody different. And it works the same way with planning. So portfolios are big. Even, I mean, I'm a photographer, so it's easy for me to say portfolio, but everyone has a portfolio. Everyone. Hi!
I was like, where did the music come from? Did Alexa turn on?
All right, so ladies, we're gonna go into speed round.
Bring it.
Speed round. All right, so one question per person.
Okay.
You got what did Kristen make us do? Like 30 seconds?
I think it was like a minute. Maybe it was 30 seconds.
30 seconds. Done. All right, ready? So.
Talk fast.
All right, so
Are we just going through a line? You picking us? I'm a little bit nervous.
we'll go through a line.
Okay, cool.
We'll go through a line. We'll start with you, Priscilla.
Okay.
Hot seat.
Boom.
All right. These are questions that were asked to us. So, Priscilla, what are the benefits to hiring a planner with design abilities?
Okay. There's difference between an event designer and a wedding planner. One is strictly not there to coordinate, but they're there and they have a lot of probably design background. But if you can find a planner that has the know-how of planning and coordination and will give you design techniques that you're paying 2 for 1. I think every planner will be willing to give you advice on design and steer you the right way. It just kind of depends on how involved they are in the design process.
Excellent.
Did it.
Excellent. All right, Kim, is it worthwhile to have just a day of coordinator?
just to have day of coordinator, if you're just doing the bare minimum, yes. The answer is yes.
Simple answer, yes.
Yes, exactly, too, because you know what, the last thing you want to do is to be running around, tying all those loose ends, setting the cake topper, getting your champagne flute, where's the pens for the sign on the table or for the books. Leave it to us. Go enjoy being married. Don't worry about it. So yes, if all that your budget can allow for, at least hire a day of coordinator.
Excellent.
Agreed.
Okay. All right. Katie, I'm having a destination wedding. What are the most important things to keep in mind?
Okay, so destination weddings are usually smaller scale, so you definitely want to keep your guest count in that as well. Also kind of focus on where you're getting married, because if you go get married in a national park, you may have some limitations with photographer licensing and stuff like that. Trying to think what else. Vendors, if you have a destination wedding, that may be a little bit tricky. So if you're going to get married in California, maybe look for a coordinator that's over in California who's really familiar with those vendors. I think that would be very beneficial, make your planning process easier.
Okay. So if you're going to bring your vendors with you, which happens a lot for photography,
Yeah.
just that is a calculation into your budget, because my room, my travel, stuff like that. Or you can find vendors there, but if you're finding a vendor there, it's going to be a lot of Skype and calls, right? Okay. And can I bring you somewhere if I wanted to go?
I will travel.
All right.
I love it.
So let's see here. So did I skip one? I did.
It's okay. I'll answer that. What
Okay.
did you
I
say?
don't think I can afford a planner. What would be a must-have service for solo?
Okay.
Yeah.
A must-have service. I don't really think there is a must-have, again, because it's really not a one-size-fits-all. It really depends on what your needs are. If you need some kind of aspect of planning, I think for myself, and I'm pretty sure with you ladies, we kind of all have a la carte services in the sense of we really want to know you and personalize it to you. So really think about maybe what your biggest fear is for your wedding, or something that you've never really thought of handling, or overwhelming to think about handling it, like RSVPs, and just chat with us. I don't really know if there's. We might be here for a while.
All right. Okay. So let's see here then, Kim. What are some things to consider when deciding on venues, such as indoor, outdoor space?
Yes, okay. So depending on your guest count, having a venue, for example, let's say if you always dreamt of having an outdoor wedding, but
it's July in
Yeah.
Florida.
Can you hear it
if
thundering
you're
right
in
now?
Florida, let me just say, if you're in Florida, you want to make sure that your venue has a backup plan. Unless you plan on tenting, but even when you're tenting, I mean, Florida weather is absolutely crazy. The rain and the wind can just go sideways like this and can get into the tent. So when you're considering a venue, look at the options. Do they have outdoor and indoor space available to you? Now, because if you're having an outdoor wedding and if it starts to rain and thunder and all that other, you want to be able to move indoors. And I love a space that has accommodations, that has, like a bridal changing room, which is super important, because there are some venues that it really is, it's just the space, the hall. There's no other space, like there's just the bathroom and that's it, but there's no bridal changing suite. If you plan on getting ready there, that's something that you'll want to look into, unless you have a hotel nearby.
Right.
and
Which is
then,
another cost.
That's exactly another cost. And then also, something else to consider is setting up time and breaking down time. Now, some venues have where they, for example, you rent it out for 4 hours and they only allow maybe an hour, maybe 2 hours for setup. So your in time has to be at that exact time. Let's say it's a college venue, for example, like some of the community centers, like Winter Springs, Winter Garden Community Center. You have to end, or Ocoee, it has to end at, I think, 10 o'clock, and everyone has to be out by 11.
Right.
So if you know that all the vendors have to be out by 11 o'clock, you need to end your wedding exactly at 10 o'clock, if not a little bit earlier, depending on what needs to be broken down. So there's a lot of little factors to consider when looking for a venue like that.
Excellent. So yeah, I mean, this is the point. There's a lot that goes into it, and I mean, you've done it before, and most likely you haven't. So it's important. Sorry, I was about to go off on a tangent. All right. So, what is set and strike?
So set, and this is something I always ask my vendors, what is your set and strike times? Set is when, say you have a rental company coming and bringing Chivari chairs and chargers and farm tables. Their set time is when they're going to start arriving. So they arrive and you need them set at a certain time. So say ceremony starts at 4 o'clock, which means you need those Chivari chairs out there. I need them set and like ready to go by like 2:30, 3 o'clock. Strike time is when everybody is going to come and start taking things away. So if you're at a certain venue where everybody has to be out at 11, they need to be completely struck by 11 o'clock at the latest. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
And this is the terminology. Something that I'm always telling clients is when they're searching for their catering, I ask them to ask the caterer, is my cake cutting included? That's usually a separate fee.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, it's not that anybody's intention is to nickel and dime you, but somebody does have to cut that cake and slice it out and have it prepped for everyone. So that's usually a fee.
Yep.
Some places include that. If they're going to charge extra and you have a planner, I don't know if that's something that you offer.
Cake cutting?
Yeah.
I've done it before.
Yeah, I mean, like
It's not ideal because you're not.
Need be, yeah. Then typically the caterers, again, really depends on who your catering service is, or if you're having it at a hotel. Most of the time, the hotels, it's already included as part of their package. But if you're outside, then yes. The reason why the additional cost is, it's not just the labor, but then like they have to provide additional plates, and additional forks.
Yes.
And so that is one of some other costs that comes into it.
And you're dealing with food, and when you're dealing with food, I know this from another. You have to be certified for food handling. So it's definitely something. I mean, like if you're getting married in a place, this is something we're going to talk about on a future Real Talk, where you're bringing in your own vendors and you bring in like a barbecue joint, and you have your own cake from a professional cake artist. Who's cutting that cake? Right. Because the barbecue joint probably isn't.
Mm-hmm.
So at that point, we would recommend having a server, somebody who's going to serve your alcohol too, and most servers do include a cake cutting that I've talked to. A tangent, sorry. All right.
You're going to talk about this too.
So let's see, Priscilla, how much should my wedding cost me?
Oh, I think we talked a lot about that. I know Kim talks a lot about, the average and national average and such. Like I said, it really honestly depends on everything. I mean, it depends really on your guest list. Are you doing, even things like plated and buffet is so much different than heavy hors d'oeuvres. It's a tough question.
They're all going to be different.
It's all different.
Yeah,
it's all different based on your guest list, your venue. Is it a la carte? Is it inside, outside? Some churches won't charge you because you're a member, and then or you're renting out.
Same thing with clubs.
Yeah. Clubs. Yeah. Clubs makes me think of it. Yeah, country clubs. So that's
Yeah. Okay, so I added that one specifically in there because no one can tell you how much your wedding should cost. Everybody will tell you their average, the national average. I could go to Kim right now and say, how much is your client average spend with you on a wedding? And it's probably going to be different for you and different. Nobody's going to tell you can't, like, if you want to spend this amount because that's what you want. I mean, if I told you I have $6,000 to spend on a wedding, what did you tell me the other day? Elope. Elope. That's just the thing.
And the only other thing I'd say about budget is be honest. If you are paying for yourself, whatever the case is, and you only have this amount, you have to be honest not only with your planner, but your professionals, because we'll either try to work with you or we'll refer you to someone who can maybe help you better. Yeah. But don't, that's the best way that you're going to overspend, is not really being realistic or honest with those numbers.
Okay. So, Kim, what don't you handle?
What don't you handle? I do, actually, the only thing that I don't do is I don't track RSVPs.
Really?
Yeah, that's the only thing I don't do. Because the client, when it sends back to them, it's better for them, because sometimes things do change when they're sitting back and they're like, oh no, I can't make it anymore. They always just contact the bride and groom anyways too. But I do give them the resources, how to track them. So there's programs I use like All Seated, which is a program You can get online. It's free, by the way, for those who are planning. And, you know, you can work with your planner and then with your client at the same time too. But so tracking RSVP is probably the only thing I don't do.
So ask your planner that. I mean, because they're going to tell you everything they can do, but sometimes it's important to know.
Yeah.
What
Can
you
I
can't
give
do.
one more?
What?
Handling money. I won't
Oh,
handle
yeah,
in the
that's-
sense of, is that one of the
yes.
questions?
That's on there.
Okay, then I'll wait.
No, now, okay. You're going to get double questions. Let's go back to this for a second. You're going to answer this now. Do you handle contracts? Do you take vendor payments?
Handle contracts as far as look over them,
Mhm.
review them, make sure that what you have in your mind, in your budget, in your vision, planned for this professional to do, yes. Will I sign anything on your contract? No. Will I handle any payments for your vendor? No. Any payment between or agreement between the couple and the professional is a complete and utter commitment between the couple and the professional. I will lead you, I will direct you, I will help you plan and guide, but I will not agree to any of your vendors. I won't make that commitment. That is completely up to you, because if anything, worst case scenario, if something happened and I don't want to say no longer requested my services, or if somehow I was out of the equation, I can't be responsible also now for all of the vendor contracts that you sign.
Right.
It's a lot of financial escrow
It's
stuff
just
going
so
on
much
there.
liability, and I won't
Yeah.
handle your payments.
Mm-hmm.
Is that true?
I agree.
Okay.
I will distribute
Yeah.
gratuities though.
Yes, I
Yes.
will do that. I will hand out.
Yes.
But I'm not going to pay your DJ.
And let you know when your payments are due.
Yes.
Yeah.
They're like, okay, you have this deposit and the final balance is due on this date and this amount. Please
We
pay.
know all that.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna hate you twice.
What's up?
Sorry.
Okay, so Katie, do you have a team?
So my team is me and my husband. Woohoo! We're a husband and wife team. He's my computer died, so he can't even see me right now. But that's okay.
You can share it.
We'll share it.
He's my right hand man. He likes to say he's just a guy, but so he's my dude. You'll see him, but mainly he's like setting favors and doing all those things, and I'm out with the people.
Okay.
Does he have a name tag that says just the dude? Because that's awesome.
He refuses to wear a name tag, but I have thought about that.
Excellent.
Don't
All right.
ask me, I'm Pelper.
Yeah, exactly.
Excellent. So, if you were to get a wedding
Mm-hmm.
that was in need of more,
Okay.
you have people that you can.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So if I get a ginormous wedding with like 350 people, or you're a do-it-yourself couple,
You have to move the chairs from ceremony to
I
reception.
would not probably. Okay, going back to that question, I don't do that. We would hire the rental company to take care of that for us.
Excellent.
But if need be, I can grow my team. I can bring in extra sets of hands if I need to.
Excellent. Okay, and then when do you leave my wedding?
So with all of my packages, unless you specifically request like a through cake cutting type of deal, which we can absolutely do, I am there from start to finish. Typically arrive 3 hours prior to ceremony, and I am there to pack up all your stuff and put it in your car or your hotel room.
Okay. Yeah.
So how many hours is that?
Oh lordy.
Doesn't look like
It depends. I would say from the time I leave my house to the time I get back to my house, it's easily 10 to 12 hour day. Long day.
And this is key. This is going back to our last real talk with Rebecca at Heathrow Country Club, and the differences between a planner and a venue coordinator. Because
Yep.
the planner is going to stay there. If you've hired them separately for your wedding, the venue coordinator is going to stay there until.
I used to do that. I can tell you.
Yes.
Most venue coordinators stay up until like you get your entree, and they say bye, love you, have a great night.
Does it taste good? Okay, bye. It doesn't
what I do.
always. It doesn't always. I did do a wedding where the coordinator left after ceremony.
Oh really?
The issue with that was, I mean, it wasn't a day coordinator, it was venue
The
coordinator.
venue coordinator.
Yeah, the issue was there was not enough tables and chairs
Mhm.
for the guests, so it was standing room only.
Oh, no bueno.
Where they just stood? There was no other like wedding coordinators on site?
No, they had not hired a planner,
Good.
so it was a venue coordinator, and somebody didn't count. so
Your
That's
stories
something
always
we
make
don't-
my heart race.
I
Like, you start telling
I have
stories
the best stories.
I know, and actually, since you said that, if I can add in just, for the coordinator, why it's so important to have, like, at least a day of coordinator on site, right? So, I do a lot of Asian American weddings. The problem with Asian American people, or just Asian people in general, is they don't like to RSVP. For my weddings, I literally have to allocate at least an additional 2 tables, that's 20 seats extra for outflow. And this is for, like, let's say a family, they RSVP only, let's say 2 people are invited, the husband and the wife. Well, then now they've decided to bring their aunt because the aunt was like visiting, and then maybe like the grandma or somebody else too. So you know, I'm like, we don't have 2 extra seats. Now I have to figure out, where am I going to place 4 people because they want to sit together. Luckily, I already thought about that and put them on the outflow table. So a coordinator is actually able to troubleshoot. And let's say someone else forgot to RSVP. They're coming, and so now I need 1 extra seat. If I'm looking at table 6, okay, there's currently 9 guests right now. I do have 1 extra seat available. I'm going to make it work somehow. Yeah. Hi, guests. Right this way. So they're able to troubleshoot it for you versus having, like, running up to the mom, to the bride. Oh my God, I don't have a seat. I RSVP'd. You didn't get my RSVP card. Like, you know, what are we going to do? So they're able to not only find you a seat, they will talk to the caterers and say, listen, we have 1 extra guest. You know, like, we need to be able to accommodate to them somehow.
And the couple usually doesn't know that happens.
Yes,
we
exactly.
make it happen.
It's magic.
Okay, so do you have these plug in? All right, so let's see. Priscilla, what if you haven't done a wedding at my venue?
I'll go there. I mean, that's pretty short and so sweet. But if I haven't been to your venue, I will go there. If it's within the distance of my contract, I will go there. I will visit with someone that I haven't met, maybe the coordinator or the venue there. I will go personally. I'll take a tour. I'll talk about them. I will tell them that I have a couple. We'll talk about the event that they've booked. So I now know what they've spoken with. Because a lot of times, before anyone even goes to talk to a planner, they've already booked their venue most times. So I can kind of investigate a bit and have a better sense of what they're already being provided with.
Yep. Okay. And
She gets all.
will you handle my future mother-in-law?
Oh, snap.
Oh, I
love that question. Favorite question.
I love parents. I really do. And I think what's great about being a people person, because I get along with everyone, no matter what kind of personality. Now, I have come across a little bit more, what's the word? They're more particular, you know, a particular client in which that they want things to be set a certain way. And I think that the best way to handle that is to communicate with them. I think that a lot of times the reason why we have frustrations is because we don't properly communicate our thoughts and what expectations are to be met. So I think that if you're able to fully understand someone, so in case this is the mother-in-law, ask her what her expectations are. Let her know, this is the services I'm going to be providing. How can I help you? Or how can I make this day enjoyable for you? Well, she's going to say, well, let's say what's most important to her is to make sure that her friends are accommodated, you know, or that, you know, she gets photos with her daughter and, you know, all their guests. Okay, well, we'll make sure that we'll allocate maybe a certain time for them to take some pictures and to be able to meet their needs. Because if you're not able to accommodate to the parents, and especially if they're paying for a lot of this, you know, you don't want to overlook it.
Right, of course. Yeah, I mean, that's another thing too. If your parents, because a lot of time photography is a pretty big hit to your budget. Not as big as catering or venue, but it's pretty significant usually. So parents will pay for that.
Yes, and actually I've had to hire a third photographer honestly just following the parents around.
Right.
Because to them, photography was super important to have it with their friends, especially if they have family and friends coming from all across the world. It's not just here in the States, from all across the world. So I've actually had to hire another third photographer just to do those photos.
Right, yeah, and that is definitely something that I would talk about with the client is, I mean, is it a gift? Are they giving you money for this? Or is there I'm doing this and I expect this out of it. Right. So there's a difference. And in that situation where it's like, I'm paying for your photography and I want this list executed, I want this done. Well, my couple are my clients. No, it's not who's paying for it, it's who I'm actually shooting. So so in that situation, yes, a third photographer, and it's literally, this is mom and dad, you're their shadow.
Yep.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah.
Okay, so then Katie, my guest list is out of hand. What do I do?
Okay, so I always tell my couples to ask yourself this simple question. Would you take this person to dinner and would you pay for their meal? That will automatically, if you think about that will automatically weed out a lot of those people who you maybe haven't seen in years, but you kind of feel like you have to invite them. Okay, asking you that, maybe they're not that close to you as you thought.
That's real talk.
That is real talk.
Yeah.
It's true.
It's totally true.
Yeah.
Another thing to consider is, are you going to be having kids at your wedding? You can eat. I've had weddings where I've literally had like 25 kids.
Yeah.
That's a lot
Yeah.
of people. Having a kid-free wedding, which that can get tricky, that's a whole nother subject. But that is a nice, easy way to actually drop people off your guest list as well.
Yeah. No kids or no kids outside of family.
Yes, exactly.
I mean, yeah. Okay, so then, all right. Here's my ex. But ladies, I have a insert any word you want, friend, aunt, maid of honor, mom, who can coordinate
No.
my wedding. I'm going to give you an example. So I'm not hating on anyone. I just did a bridal show, and I had bride and maid of honor who's best friend, and the subject just came up, and I'm like, oh, who's coordinating? Do you need a referral? And we're at a bridal show, but I'm just making conversation. She's like, oh, my maid of honor's going to do it. And I looked at the maid of honor, and I must have been the biggest B to this lady, because I looked at her and I was like, oh, okay, so have you done this before? She's like, oh yeah, I coordinate events. I'm like, oh, okay, so is this your business? How many weddings have you done? Are you planning on doing the coordination and not doing the maid of honor? Because when you're standing up there and you're holding both bouquets, who's going to make sure the candles are lit? Again, biggest B on the planet right here. But
It's true.
the bride looked at her friend like, well, answer her.
Yeah.
And she looked deer in headlights. And I'm like, I'm not trying to cause issues. I'm not trying to cause drama. I'm not trying to do any of that. But the reality is, when you accept a position of maid of honor or bridesmaid, or you're the parent, that is what you're there to do, not coordinate. I made the suggestion when I saw the look of complete, oh my God. I said, well, how about you help all the way up to, and then hire a day of coordinator, have assistants, do something, because you can't be helping her with her dress and making sure flower arrangements or chairs are being moved over.
Right.
So that's my little tidbit to this. But I do, like, I see a lot of shaking, so everybody agrees with that. Yeah, so it doesn't hurt to have a planner, have a coordinator.
Minimum day of, guys.
Minimum.
And other than it, obviously you want your guests and your family to enjoy your day just as much as you are.
Yes.
And I think, Carrie, you said that anyone who has even done this before in your family, I'm sure that they can tell you, whether roses are better than, or if you want orchids, or, they can help you make those decisions, and they should. They're your family, But there's so many more logistics that go into it.
Exactly.
And the behind the scenes, and, does your maid of honor that's planning your wedding, do they have an assistant on that day? Because you're going to need one.
Yeah.
We all have assistants, when we have, it's just, there's so many things.
Yes,
Right.
it's a lot that goes into it. So I want to wrap it up here. I want to end on the most important thing, I think, because every single one of us is going, at least hire a day of coordinator. At least hire a day. It doesn't matter what your budget is. At least hire. But it's easy for us to say because we're not in your wallet, right? It's easy to say for us, just whip out your checkbook and pay for a day of coordinator. But when you're trying to figure out your budget, and this is something that we've talked about before, and I talk about it, is when you have a plan and you have a budget to it, you have to allocate what's most important to you. And I would love to hear one tip to save money on your wedding day. So I'm going to start with you, Katie.
Okay, so I'm the type of girl that is all about reusing. So I will have couples choose to line their aisle with cute little things and jars on shepherd hooks, and then we reuse those flowers as centerpieces. Boom.
Yeah.
Saves you lots of money right there.
Excellent.
Mhm.
That is good. And who's, so after the ceremony, who's moving those lanterns and those flowers?
I'll move it. I don't mind. That's what I have cocktail hour and my husband for.
Excellent. All right, perfect. All right, so Kim, one tip to save money on your wedding day.
Reduce the guest list. You know,
Get rid of the
Yeah.
it is absolutely, you won't, you know, like the difference, just even with 10 people.
That could easily be $1,000
Exactly.
there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because you have so many things from food to table settings to centerpieces to everything else to service fees, gratuities, because it's per person. And so if you're able to reduce your guest list and really keep it at your target of what you had originally, that is from my personal opinion, the absolute best way to reduce your cost.
I'm gonna hit you hard on this one.
Yeah.
Okay. I already sent out my save the dates for like 150 people, but my budget only allows for 100. What do I do? You're not my client, no.
If you've already sent out your save the dates and your budget can only allow for 100 people, I mean, when you're sending out save the dates, just know that you're going to have to factor in there's going to be a certain amount of decline.
Yes. Right.
About 10 to 15% people are going to be declining. So you're most likely going to be somewhere within that range. Now you have to go back and think about, okay, well, where does my budget take me? Where does it allow? Where can I save a little bit more? So another way, so then again, to reusing your flowers instead of having additional flowers, that's an additional cost. And if I may add, when you hire a wedding planner, most of the time we work with vendors, you know, our preferred vendors that we work with, they typically give us some sort of special deal, some sort of discount, which is really awesome. The reason being is because we work and we refer them all the time. So for me, I pass those discounts to my clients. And like on average for each of my weddings, I think I save somewhere between a couple of hundred to like upwards of like 1,000-ish plus, maybe more depending on how large my weddings are.
Yeah.
But that saving goes to paying for us, you know? So anyways, your coordinator, ask him.
I give a discount to preferred planners. I
There
do.
you go.
I do it because
Thank you.
if I'm not, and that goes directly in the contract, directly off. So it's not a matter of like, you know, a money handling situation. You literally just, it's a line item on your invoice. Because I know that my day is going to be easier. Well, I hate saying easier. It's going to flow better. Because I don't have to worry. I don't have to go to the hair and makeup artist and be like, hey, I know you're really busy and this probably looks super unprofessional, but I needed the bride like a half an hour ago. So what the heck? It's just a thing. It is just going to make my life easier.
Oh my goodness.
Fly back on. Almost done with live.
Yeah. Sorry.
It's okay. It's just my sister. She should be watching anyway.
Oh! You just got called out. Okay. All right. So, Priscilla.
Yes.
One tip to save money on your wedding day.
Your wedding date when you're getting married is a big cost saver. Time of day, I think Saturdays, I think is automatically, or if you're not getting married on a Saturday, if you choose like a weekday, Wednesday, you're going to be saving probably a big chunk of the discounted rate. Even time of day, things like having a brunch wedding opposed to an evening cocktail, and the season in which you're getting married.
Yep. Those are all factors. So first is Saturday, then it's Friday, Sunday, then it's Monday through Thursday, and then it's time of day. And now, not all, I say not all venues, like city places, it's usually one price is all.
Right.
But like even like Bella Colina, they have different price points for different days. And then they also have different price points for different seasons.
Yeah.
I mean, people like if you're getting married in the heat of summer, if you're getting married in July, August,
Expect a deal.
Yeah.
expect a deal, but plan accordingly because it is going to rain.
Yes.
So
That couple that you're, a couple $100 that you're saving, you're going to need a tent, you're going to need,
yes. So just plan accordingly for that.
Absolutely.
Okay, so ladies, we went a little bit over, but that's okay. I do want to thank you guys for joining us. I know it was a lot of information. We're going to save this for any feeds that went down. We're going to share it. I'm going to reshare on Wednesday, Wedding Wednesday. Okay, so thank you. And where you can see us. So we're doing this every month at the end of the month, different panels and different topics. And so if you sign up to embracebycara.com/newsletter, you can put that in, you can put your email in and you get an email blast. And I let you guys know. On my Facebook feed, on Priscilla's Facebook feed, if ladies want to share, that's a good way to do it too. So again, my name is Kara. I'm with Embrace by Kara Wedding Photography, and
I am Katie, and I own Big Day Celebrations.
And I'm Kim from Pearl White Events.
And I'm Priscilla from Priscilla Rose Events.
And all you ladies have a preference on how to contact you? Website, Facebook?
Yeah.
Totally cool.
Yeah,
Facebook for me.
Facebook's good.
Pearl White Events.
Yeah, cool. Excellent. Awesome. So
Thanks
thank
for
you.
tuning in.
Thank
Bye.
you.